In today's episode, we dive deep into the challenges and advantages of being a woman in a man's world. This chat is meant to inspire other women and explore the world we want to create. Please enjoy. Shona Macdonald?
Hello, sir.
How are you?
Lovely to meet you.
I won't even act like I don't know who you are because I absolutely love Survivor, obsessed. The only thing I don't like about Survivor is that they don't have it playing every single day.
I know, right?
Absolutely unbelievable. But we're not here to talk about you and Survivor only. We want to talk about women in a man's world. You own a business that you're very, very passionate about. Let's talk about your business. Let's talk about it. And we're going to talk about Survivor a little bit more as well.
Sure, no problem. So I am the founder of Thursday's Lingerie and Swimwear. Essentially, I support boobs.
Oh, you are like me. Yeah, because I support boobs too.
Who doesn't?
Yo,
right?
they
Who
are
doesn't?
beautiful.
This is how I got funding on Shark Tank. I was like, Sharks, who supports boobs? And no one could say no.
That's what you heard. Yeah.
But the interesting thing about that, and coming to the topic of today's conversation, is even though it is a very feminine garment, bras, because obviously Thursdays is about bras and underwear, specifically for niche markets. So I started with bigger boobs because they are very left out from the retailers. Lingerie has a very male focus on it, even though it is designed and created for a woman's body. So the whole reason I started the brand is because I couldn't find bras in my size that fit me well, that were beautiful, that were affordable.
So if you listen to this, but you don't have the biggest boobs in the world. I'm sorry, I'm not looking at your boobs.
Yeah.
They're not. You don't have like
I know.
666D.
I know. So these days,
I mean, I don't look at your boobs. I'm just saying. I didn't.
it's okay if you do. You know, they are on display. But no, seriously, when I developed, it wasn't that I had the biggest boobs. They were probably a D cup, double D. But at that stage, bras only really went up to a C cup. Now they're a little bit more inclusive, so you can find more options, but those options are very limited. And as soon as you go a bit bigger than a double D cup, it's really, really challenging. So there's a lot of women who really still struggle with this just because of their size. And if you look at Africa, we are a very curvaceous continent. So why are we not making bras for the women that are in our country and that are representative of women all over the world? And there's several reasons. I think a lot of it is because of margins. Women's bodies are so different, so different. Even for my brand, I still don't cater for every bra size or even all of the bigger boob sizes, because there's so many different sizes and women carry weight in their bodies in different spaces. So even within the same size, different styles, different fits can fit you better. And the retailers really do cater for the mass, but also, and this is very much my opinion, but I think it's pretty on point, lingerie historically has been looked at from a male perspective.
Which blows my mind, because aren't men trying to get the lingerie off? Why would you try and design something to be beautiful if someone's trying to get them off?
So it's
You know what I mean?
It's designed to show a woman looking really sexy.
All right.
You know, to bring out her sexy
Curves,
side.
yeah.
So this is my opinion again, but I don't think that historically men have viewed like extra curvy women as sexy, and that's why they've been left out, and this is why they don't feel as sexy, even though curves are what makes a woman feminine. You know, it's your softness, it's your roundness that makes you a woman. It's how you carry children, is that you develop, you know, softer areas around your womb and around your ass. It's all there for a reason. So I think every body shape should be celebrated, and women would find themselves a lot more beautiful if they wore clothing that supported the body that they were in, rather than trying to dress for a body that is not anything like theirs.
Yeah, so I was raised by a very big, black, beautiful woman, like always been big. And that's what my mother always preached growing up. She was always like, certain lines make you look better, certain colors, certain things. Find what makes you look beautiful, what makes you look good. So that's a household I was always raised in. And now I go out to the real world, and the real world doesn't believe in what my mother taught me. And it's just quite interesting to be in the real world. Because, you talk about bras. My mother's always had humongous boobs because she's always been a big woman. And those are the kind of bras that I grew up seeing. So I've never seen any other bra growing up. So that when you talk about that in my household, those are the only bras I ever saw. These big, boring looking. And I don't want my mother to be wearing anything that's actually exciting, to be truthfully honest. It rest her soul. But what's the difficulties have you found being a woman in a man's world or business? No, not business, but in business scene.
So as a woman business owner, I lead with a lot of intuition and emotion. Everything that I do is really heart-led. And it comes from a very passionate space. Like, I'm not doing this business because I'm profit-driven. I'm doing it because I really connect with my customers and I want them to feel amazing. And I'm very committed to that cause. So when I am doing things like raising capital, these are my reasons. I'm very creatively led. I'm very emotionally led. And a lot of the support industry is actually run by men still who don't always fully understand my motivator and my core reason for doing business. And they just see bras and sex and fun and numbers. So it's very difficult to really get the necessary supports I need to grow the business and to get it into retailers and to get, the support to actually help me create manufacturing locally, which is very important for South Africa to be creating these bras locally. But I don't know. It feels like either people see the business as really fun and don't take it that seriously, or they don't really get the point and they think that it should be fine to just cater for whatever's being catered, do it the easier way. Doesn't really matter. For example, I've just recently launched mastectomy bras, right?
Oh, wow.
Mastectomy bras, for those people who don't know, are for women who have survived breast cancer, but they've had to have one or both or parts of their breast removed to get rid of the cancerous cells. And they now either can go, just like flat-chested, or they can choose to wear a silicone prosthesis, which is like, it's a silicone boob that is external. And you put it into this bra that has a little pocket inside so that if you bend over, it doesn't fall out. It also protects the prosthesis so that it has a longer lifespan. These bras are ugly. Like, they are not pretty at all because they fall into the same mental category as the bigger curvy bras for women that are just by the industry not deemed necessary to feel sexy. So now if you've had breast cancer, don't worry, you don't have to feel sexy anymore. And that to me is mind-blowingly ridiculous. Because if anything, those are the women who deserve to feel the sexiest.
So as a man, as a human being, not as a man, I've never thought about bras for people who've had breast cancer.
Yeah.
I feel ashamed. I absolutely am disgusted in myself.
But
and I'm usually I try to be the most conscious in the room. I try to be the person who thinks about other people, but I didn't think about that at all, and I feel ashamed.
Yeah, and this is the problem is it's just because you don't have the problem, right? If you had to have breast cancer, you would still have surgery to remove it, but it wouldn't make a difference to your manlyhood because you wouldn't be losing a part of you that makes you identify with being a man. Whereas a woman's breasts really are an important part of her feeling feminine, feeling like a woman. And so to lose that and then also to lose the ability to dress in a womanly way just magnifies that feeling of less than.
Okay, so you spoke about you're emotional, like you have an emotional connection to this. What you?
Do you mind if I just continue one more point on
that?
that?
Please.
One thing that I found very interesting launching our mastectomy bras is the advice that I've got from a lot of male advisors is that I should create a separate brand from Thursdays for the mastectomy bras because it's not aligned to the beautiful, sexy lingerie that we have. And that they don't want my brand image for the lingerie to be pulled down by the mastectomy bras. But I actually think that the mastectomy bras add so much value because my customer is not a man looking at our underwear thinking, this is sexy. It's for a woman buying it for herself. That's why we called the brand Thursdays. Thursdays is ladies' night. So it's always for the woman first. And for me, I feel like it's important for our mastectomy patients to view themselves in the same sexy light as the woman buying our normal lingerie.
So they say in Middle Eastern countries, their biggest sellers of lingerie and sexy lingerie is the women who are covered from head to toe. Because they're not wearing it for anyone else but themselves. No one else can see it except their husbands and them. But they say underneath everything that's covered, they're looking sexy as heck and they're rocking some of the most expensive lingerie. All right. So you spoke about you having an emotional connection to your business. Do you think that is a pro or a con being a woman in a man's business of world?
I think being led by emotion can be a pro and a con. Okay. It's a pro because it's a very big driver for me. It's very easy to motivate myself to keep going. Often a startup is very challenging. It's like you feel like you take one step forward, two steps back.
Like Survivor.
Exactly.
One week you're like, oh yeah. The next thing, fire's gone.
Exactly. So being emotionally led really is a way to keep at it and to keep motivated and to keep innovating as well. But it can come across as unprofessional if you get upset too easily or angry if things aren't going your way. So I think it's good to take control of your emotions and be able to process them and channel them in the right way. But I like being an emotional person, so long as it's not like crazy, wild pendulum swinging from one extreme to the next that people actually don't know how to handle you. Being somebody who is driven by your feelings and connecting that to what you do for work, I think makes work a lot more fun as well.
When you have to make a decision that is emotional based or good for the business, how do you control the two? Because, so for example, I run a sanitary pad charity.
Oh,
right?
I didn't know this.
And we're one of the biggest in the country.
Yeah.
One of the biggest in Africa. But I do feel like it being run by men does add, because a lot of the times we just go pad plus girl equals school days. There's no emotional connection because we have no emotional connection to menstruating at all, which I feel like has become one of our strong points compared to the female-led charities. But we realize as men that we need women to be in the business with us because they do calm us down and go, relax, drop the ego. We're trying to help women. It's not about you, right? So we've tried to find a balance by adding very powerful, strong, opinionated women into our business, right? That's really helped us because we have no emotional connection to menstruating, but they do, and then we've tried to find a middle ground. How do you make the decisions between, that you're still that 16-year-old girl who's trying to buy herself that pad. You saw that 16-year-old girl who's trying to find herself that bra that she couldn't find. How do you find a balance between great business decisions and emotional decisions for that 16-year-old girl that you were?
Well, I think
that was a long question. I'm so sorry. That was a long, tiresome question. I want to apologize.
Okay. I think the important thing is always to remember that my role is as founder of this business and that I'm really going to make an impact if I make good business decisions. So it always has to come down to logic. It has to come down to what's best for the business. But a lot of that is around what is best for our customers because we've created the business for our customers. So I'll tell you something now. I'm often given advice to focus, especially as somebody who has got ADD.
Oh, me too, girl. Girl, I'm CEO of companies and I gotta get told to focus myself.
Yeah. So everyone's like, Shona, focus, one thing at a time, one thing at a time. And I have now gone into several categories within Thursdays. Understanding different customers' needs. And what I'm doing is I'm actually using them as little experiments. So I won't invest too much in something, but I'll test it out and be like, is there a demand for this? Can I create a few samples, take some pictures, see who's interested? How can I run with this? Because my whole point for the brand is not just to do one type of bra. It's to be a very large lingerie brand. My goal is to, be the biggest brand in Africa when it comes to underwear.
Booyah.
Booyah!
Yes.
Still a while to go, but I believe that it'll happen.
Okay.
And in doing that, I want to specialize in niche markets. So I started with bigger breasts. We now do mastectomy bras. This last weekend, I was invited to exhibit at Sexpo through the after party, which was a kink after party. Now, this is a whole industry that I have no experience
I was
with.
there at Sexpo.
Oh, cool. It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. And so I thought, okay, let's adapt the brand slightly for the relevancy of the event that we're at and see what can I do to kind of sex it up a little bit that is still in line with Thursdays and our values. Because the important thing is, even though you've got different product categories, you need to have that common thread of your values. So for Thursdays, our values are about feeling confident and empowered in your body. It's about, embracing and owning your sexuality. But it's not really about this hardcore BDSM, especially when it comes to the self-harm stuff. Like, that's not really Thursdays.
That's Friday.
That's Friday.
Friday and Saturday.
Yeah,
Not a
exactly.
Sunday.
No, not a Sunday.
Okay, I want to ask you something quickly. So everyone is always talking about...
I haven't finished though.
Oh, no,
Is that
more.
Okay.
Sorry.
So
I want to have you here all day.
Where's my punchline?
Yeah.
So we adapted the brand by creating these very soft, elegant, like, how this harness wear is becoming very popular.
Okay.
The hard leather straps. That's a very masculine take on this sexy kind of kink wear, if you will. So we created these soft elastics and spandex wear that is very soft against your skin. And we were actually making it live at the expo to show this locally made element of the brand, but it's a softer approach to kink. So for women who are wanting to enter into the space but feel like the hard leather is too hectic, we have created a whole new category that is softer. It's more of a fashion item than it is like a sex accessory.
I think I saw your store. I think I saw.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Sorry, the reason I wasn't cutting you off is just I want to get in so much information because I'm loving having you here. Okay, people talk about how it is to be a woman in a man's world or business world. How can men be better? Because I don't think enough people are talking about what men must do to be better. Because I think a lot of men don't even know they're being absolute dicks. The only way to put it. And how can we be better? And how can we treat women better in the business space? I think saying treat women equally is not enough.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be more than that.
So I think it often comes down to, if a man is attracted to a woman, a lot of the time he almost expects her attention. And if he doesn't get it, then he feels a sense of rejection, which hurts his ego. And often then guys can just ignore a woman or treat them differently because their ego is now involved and they have this other level of expectation. I think sometimes there's also a lot of inappropriate flirtation, which can make women feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it's portrayed as a joke, but in a professional environment, I think there's certain lines that shouldn't be crossed. And also just taking time. Women communicate through verbal communication a lot of the time. We like to talk about how things are impacting us. So to give us that space to feel heard and that time, often you have to get to your point very quickly. If you could give a little bit more time to just let a woman unpack how she feels, that goes a long way.
Okay, I cannot end this interview without saying, let's talk about Survivor quickly.
Okay.
I loved you on Survivor. I love Survivor. You've been on Survivor twice. For me, that last season of Survivor, which is action-packed, how was it being in Survivor, and how did you use your business knowledge in the game?
So I was, first of all, I was so privileged to be called back because it is something that is a dream come true. And you always want to know how you would do the second time. So to just be able to relive it was amazing. But it is a very challenging experience. It challenges you in every single way. As an entrepreneur playing Survivor, I use my negotiation tactics. Generally you have to negotiate with people. You have to play a bit of a social game. But it's hard. It's not like anything in the real world, to be honest with you. I feel like you're in a video game on Survivor, removed from reality.
Sometimes I feel like I'm playing. No, don't do that. No, don't go there.
Yeah, and it's so much easier from the audience perspective because you can see everything that's going on around you. Whereas in the game, it's very strange because there's a lot of silence and people just looking at each other, and you want to speak to this person but you can't because it's going to be really obvious, and then there's no time to because there's the challenges, and then you've got to go out and get food. So there's a lot going on. It's a lot more complicated than it looks on TV, but hell of a worth playing, I must say.
I'm sure people are wondering, did you wear your own bras on Survivor show, or did you bring more, or did you wear sports? Were you using your own bra on the show?
Absolutely. I actually created a swimsuit specifically for the show. In fact, the first time I did it was the first swimsuit I'd ever made, literally.
Wow.
And I did not sew. In fact, I've only recently learned how to sew now myself. And I was busy stitching the bra still on the bus on the way to Malaysia after we'd landed in Singapore, thinking, I hope this holds up on TV because I don't have an alternative. And at that point, I focused so much on the bra that I forgot to put elastics in the bottoms. And they just became very saggy. And there was a few scenes that I saw they had to blur my bum. So that was round one. Yeah. This second time I thought, okay, now I'm really into it. I know how to make quality lingerie and swimwear. So I made myself a sports bra and I made myself a swimsuit that was really robust because my main thing was I want my head to be fully in the challenge. I don't want to worry about slipping out here, having, anything about my body feel uncomfortable, because I also know the camera is not flattering sometimes, and I don't want to worry about feeling fat.
Okay.
So I created something that was very flattering and that would hold me in, even in the toughest of challenges. And I promise you, I felt amazing in it, and I was able to just go full steam ahead into those challenges.
I just want to say, I understand why they had you on Survivor. I could listen to you speak for hours. It's been a pleasure to be chatting with you. Good luck with your company. And for me, I've never looked at bras the way you speak about them. Now I feel like I'm going to spend a lot longer time thinking about bras because of you. And the bra that you spoke about with the cancer patient.
The mastectomy bras?
I think it's just absolutely genius, and I think you'll take over the market, and I look forward to seeing you on Survivor. And there's more businesses that you're doing, which we won't talk about now, so good luck for those, and good luck for this, and I hope you see you in another season of Survivor.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoy. We'll see you in the next one.